can just tell us briefly about your journey with cancer, diagnosis.
It's a long one, but I normally have to tie them together. So in 2019, we had a baby, which is my second baby. And when we had that baby, we decided, because I was in school for my doctorate, we decided to close it at that temporarily, so that if at all it's about growing the family, we can continue later on after my doctorate. And so my plan was at 40 years, which I'm turning 40. I'm turning 40 this year in August 29th. So I was on family planning, and I normally say this, but I know my husband is like, eh! My husband was on he had a vasectomy, a temporary reverse that can be reversed vasectomy. So shock on us, and it's strange because I went in when my second born was born, which is something I tell many people. She was born after two miscarriages. And Jemutai, I normally see people talk about, oh, so you're going abroad to do this kind of job. I was working at a home for people with developmental disabilities. So I was lifting a lot, and I was bathing them and all that. So it cost me to have two miscarriages, because I could lift and mimba inapotea. I could lift and mimba inapotea. But you see, the thing is, I wanted fees for my school, because I had just come from Kenya, and the first time I came to the US, I came as a Fulbright scholar. So coming back, I was not a permanent resident yet. So my husband was filing for all those paperwork and everything. So at that time, I did not want to stay in the house, because I was a professional woman. I was working at African Nazarene in Rongai when I was in Kenya. I was not used to sitting in the house. So I said, you know what? I am going to register for my doctorate, and I am going to pay money. I'm going to work. That green card, it will come and find me working. So other jobs could not come because I did not have a green card. So I went in to do that job. But after losing the second baby, I said, you know what, to hell. I am pulling out of school and everything. But when I went to pull out of school, God just brought a scholarship. Carry forward, God blessed me with a child, a second child, and her name is Arella. So Anaya. So when Anaya came, that name in Hebrew just means a messenger. It means God has remembered me. So for me, I knew God had remembered me after two miscarriages. So after that is when we blocked everything. Now, what happens in America, I think, with other parts of the world, which I wish Kenya can emulate, is that when children are born, they do some disability check on their blood, if there is any kind of abnormality, not a disability, abnormality. So her blood was drawn, and we received a letter in the mail. This letter indicated that my daughter, Anaya, had sickle cell trait. She was a sickle cell carrier. Okay, so that took me back to my father, and my stepmother had my half sister who passed away with sickle cell. So immediately we received that letter, my husband was shocked. He's like, what is this? I told him, don't be shocked. Now I know, because I never knew that I was carrying that gene in me. Okay, so when that letter came, I told my husband, I have sickle cell trait because my father had sickle cell trait. So let us go to the hospital for further tests. So when they went and tested the child and confirmed, I was told to go for a check also to confirm. And when I went in, I was found to have sickle cell trait. Okay, so when I went in to see a blood doctor, hematologist, and she happened to have lived in Kenya for over 10 years. So this is where the story comes, and that's why I'm bringing you from very far, Jemutai. So when I went to see this doctor, and she learned that I was a Kenyan, number one, she told me, your blood looks really good. It doesn't even look like you have sickle cell trait. Because when you have trait, of course, half of your blood is sickle. But she was not seeing that, and report shows that I have sickle cell trait. But there was a warning that she told me. She told me, you Kenyans, you love party a lot. But you eat a lot of chapati, you eat a lot of wheat. But you need to know that wheat is Indian. Wheat is not Kenyan. Okay? But then I told the doctor, I said, but why are you saying so? We've eaten wheat ever since we were born. But then she told me, no, when Kenya was having trade with the Indians along the Indian Ocean, the Indians introduced wheat to the East Africans, okay? So that is why you got it. But you are overdoing the wheat, because the wheat, and I'm sorry, now you hear them, they are from work. They are bombarding my door.
Yes. It's okay. Anna is a cancer thriver. Alikuwa na breast cancer, and we want to know more about it because she's giving back to to the people in Kenya. Anaishi Maju, as you can hear, anaishi Maju, but she's giving back to the cancer patients in Kenya, anawabaia food. She supports them. If you have cancer and you're here, it's not a death sentence. People have died with floods. People have died through accidents. People, I don't know. So if you have cancer and you're watching this, Diana is the proof that you can do this. You can go through chemo and come out victorious. Okay? Stay tuned. Usikie kitu Diana ako nayo. We have an event coming up on July, and we want you guys, we are mobilizing people so that you can do this together. Diana hawezi peke yake. She's just doing a very small portion. If we come together, what can we do? So if you know someone, if you can help, I want you to listen to this so that you can know how you can come in and help Diana, because this project imeanzishwa na Diana, but it has so many branches of people who are working together to make sure that people are being helped na wanakula vi healthy. Sawa? So, karibu mami, umewasettle?
Thank you so much. They brought this from church for Mother's Day, so they had to give it to me. So I was telling you.
Yes.
So this doctor, she told me about wheat, and she told me, you need to reduce on the wheat or even just get rid of the wheat. But me in my head, I'm like, how can this American be telling me about chapati seriously? Are you really normal? And that day, I think I was just rebelling against her words. I came home and literally, I cooked chapati and I ate about 2 or 3, I think. I was
Before
so
we continue, by the way, you cook chapati. You sell to Kenyans in America?
Yes, Kenyans in America and even Americans. I've seen one of my client who bought chapati last week. She's African American. She ordered right here because the moment someone knows why I cook it, they just buy. Some of them buy.
They support the cause.
Like the one who bought, she's a cancer thriver also. She had cancer twice. She's had it twice, and she bought it for her kids. So she just buys to support because when I cook, nothing comes to me. Nothing comes to me. I can stand, when I was in Houston, I can stand the whole night and cook. Sometimes in Houston, I could make even about $500 in a day when I cook. And it is that money that has founded the organizations. It is that money that has helped me to feed patients from 2022, 2023.
Wow.
2024. Yeah. So it has really blessed the ministry.
Bless you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
So you went home and you cooked chapati.
Yes. So I went home, I cooked chapati and I ate. And so I was sharing with my friends, but little did I know that something was going to happen just a few months from there. And literally counting, my daughter Anaya was born in February of 2019. I was diagnosed with cancer in November of 2020. However, I found the cancer tumor in me in May of 2020. Meaning count 9 months back and you will be finding me at the doctor's table. So in my heart, I know that these were part of the warnings that something was coming. And me being a Christian, I believe that, and I give room, God is a God of choice. For people who don't believe in God or in a higher power, I respect them, because the God I worship is a God of choice. But for me, I know that we are prepared for things that are coming our way. Not that those things will not come, but we are warned beforehand that it is going to happen, but that He is going to be with us. But again, what is going to come after whatever will happen will be for the glory of His name. Because it can't be that literally about 10 months from sitting with that doctor, my baby is born and I'm diagnosed with cancer. So after that, I went on, I ate my chapati as usual, and then I got sick. A few months after that, when we went to the doctor in the night, my mother was here helping me to take care of the second born. Seriously, the second born was months old. And then my husband takes me to the hospital. And the doctor asked if I'm pregnant. I say, no, I'm not pregnant. You see, we have a little baby, because we carried the baby to the hospital because we could not wake up my mother in the night. And we had a nanny that time. So my mother was training a woman to help me when she's gone. So they were all asleep. So we left with the baby and my husband. So when we were there, I'm pointing at the baby. I'm saying, how can I be pregnant? That's not the reason. But in America, what they do, and many places, I believe, even if you say you're not pregnant, they will still go ahead and test you for pregnancy. So they went ahead and they tested me. and results came and they say, congratulations. I'm like, what are you talking about? So that is the point. They tell us we are pregnant. I say, no, I think you're mistaken. We cannot be pregnant because this guy has vasectomy and I am on family planning. And at that point, Jemutai, I was annoyed. I was sad. Instead of being happy, I was crying. Because my mother was about to leave. I was in school. I had another child. And you know the way help in America is expensive. And if this help will realize that another baby was coming, she was going to increase the price.
Yeah.
So I was thinking of all these things we were not going to afford and my body could not take it.
Yeah.
So when we got home, I just looked at my husband. I said, I'm not carrying this. This is not going anywhere. And you know exactly what I meant. And I'm those people who've been so against, that act that was coming in my mind. So my husband is a quiet guy. He's an extreme introvert. So she just looked at me and said, I know you're not the one speaking in you right now, but you know what? Whatever you decide, me, I'll support you. So I was quiet with this for some time. Then one time my nanny was cleaning the house and I slipped. And what happened? My mom realized I was pregnant. She told me and prayed with me. She said, you know what? You cannot deter the blessing from God. God knows why this is happening. Never think of that again. Then I started bonding with this child and I named this child. And immediately, I don't know how I knew, but I knew this was a girl. And I told my husband, this child will be called Arella. After praying, and he asked, now, what's Arella? What's that now? I said, this is another Hebrew name because I give them Hebrew names. And then I said, I think this baby is coming to show me something. And let's wait until she comes because there's something she's coming to let me know. And Arella in Hebrew means messenger from God.
Yeah.
And when this baby came, literally 2 weeks after she was born, when my left breast was blocked with milk, this side was producing. I pumped so hard and something opened up like a wine bottle. And 2 days after that, I felt a tiny, tiny little something.
Was it painful?
It was not painful. It was only painful when the milk was full.
Okay.
It was so engorged, swollen, but this side was shrink because this side was producing well. But this side was not producing. So because of the pain, and then many people are telling me, oh, just massage it when you go and shower. All these things that they're telling you about mastitis or about things like that. But I tried everything. It was not working. So I just decided, you know what, today I'm going to, and I remember my words. And before that happened, I told my husband before. He was in the kitchen in the sink. And I just approached him from the bedroom. The nanny was seated with an eye. I passed and I went to my husband. I said, babe, I think I have breast cancer. There's something in my heart that had been just telling me breast cancer. Then my husband said, why are you talking? What's wrong with you? I said, how can this side not be producing this milk? Something is blocking this milk. And then he said, but that is something normal for women. Just pump it. One day it will come out. So the day I felt something tiny, I called him and said, now come. Bring your finger. Bring your finger. We searched, we could not find it. But I had felt it.
Yeah.
Now, a few days again, now I felt it well. And I called him, now come here. He touched it and he felt it. And I told him, can't you hear it is very hard? He said, yes. I said, I think that is cancer. Then he said, no, stop always thinking the negative. Stop thinking the negative. Yeah. And I spoke to my neighbor, Emma. She's Kenyan. Emma told me, no, that's just usual milk stuff. Don't be afraid. It's nothing. I spoke to another one called Mercy. She told me how to go shower and what to apply on the breast. Nothing. Then I went to the hospital. I was sent away twice by my OBGYN. I was told, that is normal. We cannot even feel it. Go back home. So because I was tired of being sent away by the OBGYN, I went to my primary care doctor. At this time now, you could clearly feel it. It was no longer getting lost. So this is something that you could not feel to now you can feel it. My primary care doctor at that time was someone who had cancer several years ago. So he took me very seriously, and because he felt it, he sent me for mammogram. Cut the long story short, after mammogram, I was sent to a breast surgeon. I normally say, if you have a lump in your breast, don't go to a general breast surgeon. They may mess you up. go to an oncology surgeon.
Yeah, oncologist. Yes,
Oncology
yes.
surgeon, because
Yeah.
they don't mess around with lumps. A general surgeon can take care of any lump, but oncology surgeon only targets cancer lumps, and they know the care that they need to take when they see something that is growing. So this general surgeon, I was sent in from mammogram with a write-up that says suspicion of malignancy, meaning they are suspecting cancer. But the surgeon says, how can they suspect cancer for you who is not yet 40, who does not have a history of breast cancer, and the features of this lump is not breast cancer features? Because it says breast cancer or cancer tumors are not smooth. They are rough, they are spiky, because it shows it the way it's invading. But then this tumor is not like that. So he called this surgeon, he called the guy at the lady, the doctor at mammogram, and they talked on phone. And this guy comes back to me and tells me, I've spoken to the doctor who did your mammogram, and she agrees with me that this is not cancer. Then I say, but she wrote, it's suspicion, and my doctor has sent me to you so that you take it out for test. And the guy said, no, it is not cancer. So I'm sending you home. You will be coming after 1 month. Go home and breastfeed your baby. That is what he told me.
And you went home?
And I went home. When I went home the first time, he said, this is not breast cancer. This is what we call a fibroadenoma. Fibroadenoma. When I was from my OBGYN, they called it usual milk duct or milk something. And then this one is calling it a fibroadenoma. I go home for 1 month. I'm coming after the next month. It has doubled, if not tripled in size. Now I can stand in front, something that used to disappear. You could not feel it. I stand in front of my mirror and I'm seeing it. So I never used to look at myself in the mirror. It was on this end. So I could just deal in darkness. That is the trauma I was going through. So when I went back to him, he told me, now I know what this is. So this guy was just trying trial and error with me. He said, this is not a fibroadenoma, this is a galactosele. I said, now why are you changing? Then he said, number one, because cancer cannot grow as fast as this thing has grown. I said, what do you mean? The only thing that can grow this fast is a galactosele. I said, okay. He brought me a book because I told him, look, my mother is now scared. My family is scared. I am scared. He told me, take a picture of this book, this page, send it to your mother, because this one describes what I'm telling you. And I took a picture and I sent it. At that time, a friend of mine was going through treatment, Eva. Eva told me, Diana, I don't trust this guy. I said, but what do I do? This is the person my doctor sent me to. Another lady whose mama, my very good friend, whose mother passed away last year in January with breast cancer. Pacifica, she told me, Diana, no, I don't like where this is going. But I'm like, but this is the doctor, what do I do? So I called Pacifica to come to my house. I say, Pacifica, you have touched the lump in your mother's breast. Come and touch this lump. And I opened and she touched it. She said, Diana, I don't like this thing. It feels like my mother's lump. And I said, Pacifica, I don't know what to do now. So it had been several months. So what I did, I went to see my kid's doctor, and she told me, she asked me also what, because she knew I talk a lot. So she said, no. Let us find an oncology surgeon. You're seeing the wrong surgeon. Your doctor sent you to the wrong person. Let us find an oncology surgeon. And there is COVID. It is the height of COVID.
Yeah.
So that you receive a second opinion. I went in. We found a doctor that day. I had to pay cash because I did not have referral. You know, here there is referral and referral. If you go without, the insurance does not pay. So I ran that evening, dropped my kids and went. When I went to this surgeon, there are some very important things she told me. She said, Diana, number one thing I want to agree with that doctor is this tumor does not reflect features of usual breast cancer tumors, because it is very smooth on the outside. and its position is weird. They said the position this tumor was lying was not the usual positions that breast cancer tumors lie. Remember when I was pumping? Remember I told you it opened. I pulled it.
Yes.
I pulled it from its original position. And this later, you see God in all this story. So I pulled it and they were finding it is just somewhere in the front. In a strange, they said, she drew for me something and picture. And she told me the positions where breast cancer tumors are usually found, the ones that come in lumps. But this lump is an outlier. It's lying in a strange point and it is smooth on the outside. But she told me one thing, and this is something people should learn. She told me, the fact that it is growing is the problem. Because anytime a lump is growing, it should be biopsied to find out why it is growing. Because lumps that are not cancer, many times, they will just grow a little and stop. It just appears and it is growing. It is just playing there. But this one was growing. So she told me, Diana, if I were you, I will go back to that doctor and I will insist for a biopsy. I will advocate for myself. And then I asked her, what can I do to stop the milk? She told me, there's a chewing gum she told me to buy. And then she told me to buy another medicine over the counter. And I went and bought those that evening. And then I wrote an email to the doctor. And I called the office also. I said, I need a biopsy urgently. Please, I need to meet you. And they gave me an appointment. I went in. The breast milk stopped. I took what I was told, it stopped. So I went in and I pleaded. I said, this is another important thing, respect. Because when you don't show them respect, they will not listen to you.
Yeah.
I went in and I felt this guy is wrong, but I have to show him respect. So I told him, please, I respect you. You are the doctor. And actually, I believe this is not cancer. I believe you. But the thing is, I'm a mother to 3 children and I cannot sleep. I am stressed. I'm depressed. Yes. Would you just do a biopsy just so that I can sleep at night? Because if you do a biopsy and we find it's not cancer, then whether it is growing and bursting, I won't care.
Yeah.
And because of that humility, he said, okay, fine, we'll do a biopsy. And cut the long story short, the patient was right all along. It was breast cancer.